Skywrath Mage is going to be one of the strongest supports of this patch, and in this video I will explain why so you can abuse it before everyone else. Let's start off with what has changed about the hero. In the latest D patch, his shard effectiveness was increased, and now it triples the bolts you spam. That means for just 70 mana you can throw 3 nukes, each dealing about 200 damage, and it has a cooldown of 2. Why is it good? Well, while it doesn't change much in terms of teamfight, I mean it does, but you always had the damage, now you can basically farm effectively with that hero, and that is something this hero always struggled with. I feel like Sky is one of the heroes that was always based around farming enemies, not creeps, but you know how it is. Sometimes you will just get teammates that refuse to participate and you have no idea what to do. If you got a hero like a Jakiro or Hoodwink, well, you can just farm in the downtime. But with Skywrath, well, the game feels really bad. Now, it's not the case anymore. Now if the game slows down, all you got to do is get the shard and you can farm creeps very quickly. This basically opens another way of playing the hero. Now if you feel like you can't get kills, you can easily farm. But let's not get ahead. I will explain how the hero works and what you need to understand to get most out of him. The first thing that you need to understand that you're mostly a hero that is supposed to be dream follow-up or +1 for the kills. You offer silence and a lot of damage, however, you will usually struggle to kill people solo, even if they are alone. While your kit deals a lot of damage, against decent enemies they will just have raindrops and they will dodge your ultimate by moving out quickly. That means you really want a simple thing in your team, stuns. Your game is completely different when you have at least one person with reliable 2-second stun that you can play with. It could be Shaman or Lion as the other support, Beastmaster or Legion as offlaner, Ember or Patch, yes, from the mid lane, or Sven and Raid King as your carry. It doesn't matter. I would say in most games you would like to have stuns on your mid laner or offlane, as these are the heroes you want to snowball with, and as long as they hold enemies, you will be able to kill them. So what I'm suggesting is, when you pick your hero, tell your team to pick stuns. That's all you want. Even one is enough. Playing Skywrath with no stun heroes is abysmal, and even though you can do that, it forces you into other playstyles than just running around and killing. But you can get a Natos. Yes, you can. However, what I believe is, if you need to get a Natos on Sky, you already have a hard game to play. Unless this Atos guarantees you a lot of kills, I feel like this item doesn't offer you as much as the other items. You would much rather have Hex than this. You basically spend a lot of gold on an item that you won't need if you have at least one decent teammate that picks a good hero for you. And that way you can spend your gold on something useful, maybe even for this guy, like a Glimmer or Solar Crest, which is a very strong item this patch. Your core build includes null talismans and in most games arcanes. I think having 2 nulls or 3 is optional. By the time you get those, you should be reaching around 15 minutes, and now the decision lies ahead. Do you go for the shard or do you go for other items? Well, in games that where it seems you won't be doing a lot on the map, I feel like shard is so good. If you feel like you can trust your teammates, however, go for the team items. What I believe is the best build you can have is Arcanes, double null into either Solar Crest or Glimmer, then possibly Hex. You use your mana a lot and int from Hex goes into your bolt damage, so it's basically an item that you should aim for. In most cases, everyone is using mostly the stun component of the item, but for you, it improves quality of your game as well. There are games where you get Atos, Kaya, or maybe even Rashaganis. But the way I see the hero is you already have the damage, and I don't feel like adding it will help you at this point. Going for utility like Glimmer and Solar helps you to be useful outside casting your spells. As for the shard, get it at 15 minutes if it looks like the game is going to be boring for next few minutes. It's by no means core item in some of the games, and in others it will be the most important one you can get. This is also a good practice on how to look at the game in macro scale. try to have a guess if your shard will be useful a lot, and then after the game you'll know the answer. Keep in mind that it adds to your damage a lot, so getting it is never a grief. Sometimes it's just more efficient to get a defensive item and then hope you get it from the Tormentor. And going to the playstyle. First of all, you need to understand that you will struggle to farm a lot on this hero before you reach a certain point. In the laning stage, I think the most optimal way to play is harass enemies a lot and try to trade yourself versus enemy core, if that's possible. That means you don't mind dying. You will struggle with your mana and HP as your spells cost a lot of mana and you have zero armor. So if possible, you should use all of your resources a lot and either trade yourself versus enemy core or kill him and deny yourself to the tower. If you manage to not spend a lot of gold on consumables, you get to arcanes and nulls quicker, and that way you get to play the game easier. So be like Psycho, trade a lot and keep in mind that if enemies have a stick, they will heal a lot from your bolts. If you cast them from the trees however, where they have no vision of you, it won't give them a stick charge. Try doing that few times and it will change the outcome of the lane. And the skill build is one of the most fluent ones when it comes to supporting. Your E is your best tool. As maxed out, it is a 6-second silence that increases enemy magical damage. If you play against evasive heroes like Quop, Pac or Ember, I feel like you should be maxing that one. If you intend to get the shard ASAP, you need to keep in mind that you should have your bolt maxed out at this point. However, it's not like you will need that by level 7. I feel like you can either max out your silence in most games or put 2 to 3 points in it, then go back for the bolt. Your W also scales decently, but I feel like at this point you won't find many games where you want to max it out, as the other spells do so much for you. So, in most games, the plan is to max out your E, go on strong heroes or enemies with a stun, then kill them over and over. That's why you love smokes and blink initiators. I think Skywrath is literally the best +1 hero for all the Legions, Axes and Magnuses. The heroes that want to get a blink and then get kills. If you have them in your team, make sure that before they get the blink, you stack up the smokes. As for the talents, at level 10 you get Arcane Bolt cast range, as in most games you want to have that shard eventually. At level 15, -7 seconds on your silence is just plain crazy, so always take that one. Now, for level 20, I feel like while Pro Tracker suggests that I should take the left one, having a global W is just way too strong. It allows you to push out waves and hit enemies as well, so I'm a big fan of that one. And for level 25, if you ever reach that, it depends on the game. It's either 400 burst damage or something around 250 damage on one of your Qs. I feel like this hero has been buffed so many times it's actually strong enough to become meta again. Just look at this. It requires, however, a good understanding of macro game, as at first sight you just offer damage, but knowing where to use your spells and around who you should be playing around is really important. Sure, you will have games that you will just rush Atos and kill people over and over alone, but if that's not the case, you still offer a lot. And now, after this part of the guide is done, I'll also share a few tips about the hero that don't fit into the guide, but you will find them useful. 1. Your ultimate instantly kills illusions. Keep that in mind when you're using it on illusion-based heroes. If it doesn't disappear, that's the real one. 2. Your silence is so strong because it has no cast time. Use it to effectively punish enemy mobile heroes like Pac. I can imagine there would be games that you could go for a blink or ether lens just to land it every time. 3. You will struggle with mana. Get all the clarities you can get without griefing your teammates in the mid game. 4. As for the facets, always take the shield one. I feel like the other one is really underwhelming when it comes to numbers. 5. At 325 move speed, you're already quite fast. Keep in mind you have low base damage and low armor, but also 625 attack range. That means you can, and should, kite your enemies in the lane, especially with your W. I do believe Skywrath Mage might be the one of the meta supports. His changes to his build that has been buffed 5 times in a row mean you can now farm effectively. With all the mobility based heroes from the mid lane, I feel like your silence is one of the best counters to them, so make sure you can effectively use that. To see more support Dota content, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment if you feel like Sky will become meta again. See you!